The COVID-19 pandemic continues to wreak havoc on our community. Currently, tens of thousands of South Carolina residents are in need of unemployment benefits. Today, over the next hour, we hope to educate you and your loved ones on how to receive those benefits. Here is 5th District United States Congressman Ralph Norman.
I want to thank each of you who are listening on the radio or joining us via Facebook. Thank you for taking the time to tune in to what I think is going to be a great hour of information. The two reasons I'm doing this: one, as each of you know, the world changed after the coronavirus hit our great nation. Who would have thought that our businesses would have been closed, our schools would have been closed, and on Easter Sunday, the churches would be empty? With that being said, it's my job as your congressman to make you aware of federal help that is available and to provide you with a roadmap on how to navigate the forms if you qualify and desire to fill the paperwork out. So this is a bridge that I hope you'll take advantage of. And let me remind you, the funding is limited. I think to date we've had over $2.2 billion dispersed in South Carolina, but the dollars are limited, so it's not going to work to say I'll do it tomorrow. If you're interested, get a pen in hand and take down the numbers that we're going to have available for you to call in and take advantage of this. Now, let me introduce the panel that will be answering your questions. We have three people. Jamie Suber. Jamie is the Interim Chief Administrative Officer for the South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce. Paul Famulari, he's the Deputy General Counsel for the South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce. And Kathy Rose Hicklin, who is Director of Casework for my congressional office. Now, if you have a question for our experts, the easiest way to ask that is through the chat feature on Facebook Live. Or if you'd like to call in and ask a question, you can dial 803-324-1340. Again, 803-324-1340. And you can do so through the Facebook Live chat or by calling, again, 803-324-1340. Let me call on Jamie and Paul to have a few words for us as we begin the program.
All right. Thank you, Representative Norman. Again, this is a great opportunity, and I'm truly fortunate for you to think of me and think of the Department of Employment and Workforce. It's always a pleasure to speak with Paul Famulari, co-worker, friend, as well as follow up again with Ms. Kathy in regards to sharing information. First and foremost, I just want to give a couple of remarks associated with these trying and challenging times. Again, the agency is going through as much preparation as we can to prepare for the unknown. Over the period of 4 weeks, we've done a lot of reconfiguring within our systems. We've updated our website periodically to provide additional information for individuals to understand what programs are available to them, what they may qualify, as well as providing updates into regards to the process and how to receive benefits that may be due to them. Again, we waited on a great deal of federal guidance from the U.S. Department of Labor in regards to how we're going to execute these programs and how their expectations of what we're going to do is going to be implemented. We've continued to take that guidance and turn that into actions. As early as on Sunday of this week, we configured our system after receiving federal money on Tuesday to pay out the initial federal pandemic unemployment compensation, which is the additional $600. So we know that was a long time waiting for those individuals that are in need, but we were glad to implement that, and we're making those payments each day this week. So that is something that we're excited about, being able to get those that are truly in need that additional benefit on top of what their normal unemployment compensation may be. Over this period of time, we've heard a lot of inquiries. We've heard a lot of complaints in regards to the system, in regards to getting through customer service. But the most important thing that I want to, make clear is the self-employed, the gig workers, those independent contractors that, normally would not be eligible for unemployment insurance. I just want to remind those that the unemployment insurance program and the application was not designed for you all. We want to take this initial application in regular UI so we get that critical information from you. And it really, 9 times out of 10, you will be denied for regular UI because you don't contribute into the system. However, you providing us that information and getting that denial will allow for us to reach back out to you and figure out what additional information is going to be needed in order for us to determine your eligibility for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, which we're referring to as PUA. So that's something I do want to make mindful of those that are independent contractors, self-employed, business owners. The UI program was not intended for you, and we're trying to get you to apply through our regular channels so we can glean that information from you and provide you with the necessary information going forward. At this time, I'd like to give Paul Famolari, our Assistant General Counsel, additional time. He has run point in regards to taking that USDOL guidance and making that something that we can digest and understand, and he may have some additional comments for you all at this time.
Thank you, Jamie. And again, I want to thank Congressman Norman for the opportunity to speak with everyone today and provide the information and answer any questions that you might have. Echoing some of the things that Jamie said, just to provide a little bit of context about the extraordinary situation that we're in terms of claim volume. In all of 2019, about 120,000 people filed a claim for unemployment insurance benefits, and that was for the entire year. In the last 4 weeks, we have successfully processed almost around 300,000. So that's about 2.5 years worth of work crammed into 4 months. And then on top of that, the call volume that's associated with that. And as Jamie mentioned, we have put the pedal to the metal to add additional resources, both in terms of customer service representatives and in terms of the information that is available on our website to assist the public as much as possible, as quickly as possible. But it has been a challenge. I did want to provide a brief overview of the programs that are available to assist people through unemployment insurance. The first and foremost is always the usual state unemployment insurance program, and that program is available for people who meet the regular state eligibility requirements. And if you're eligible under that program, you will be paid under that program, and you'll receive the additional $600 a week payment through July 25th. The next is a federal program called Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, and that provides an additional 13 weeks of benefits to people who exhaust their regular unemployment insurance eligibility. So if you receive everything you're entitled to receive under state UI, you would then be eligible to receive these additional 13 weeks, and that program will run very similarly to the Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program that was in effect during the Great Recession that some of you may be familiar with. And then the third program, and Jamie touched on this, is the PUA program, which is for people who are not eligible for unemployment insurance, either because they don't pay into the system because they're self-employed or they're a gig worker, or they don't have sufficient wages, or they don't meet another eligibility requirement for the state UI program. They would be eligible for the federal PUA program if they were unemployed, unable to work, or unavailable to work as a direct result of a COVID-19 reason. So that just provides a broad overview of the programs, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Paul. Let me remind everybody, we've got an hour. This is the first one that we'll have on unemployment insurance. So Friday, I've got another conference coming up on the PPP, Payroll Protection Plan. So Friday at 11 o'clock. So if we want to try to answer as many questions as we can and keep your questions pretty succinct and to the point so we can get to as many questions. Okay, first question, is the additional $600 per week for everyone on unemployment insurance, or just some?
I'll take that. That is, if you've qualified for regular unemployment insurance, that additional $600 will be added to your weekly benefit amount, whatever that may be. For example, if your weekly benefit amount is $200, that $600 will be added to your $200, and you'll get that payment at one time. And those payments went into individuals' checks retroactively starting on Monday. So, again, if you file whichever day you certify for your week, and whichever day you receive your weekly benefit amount, you'll start seeing that amount added to your weekly benefit totals. when you certify for your week. So that has started as of Monday. So it will be added to your weekly benefit amount.
Great. Okay, another question.
Just to add on to Jamie's comment really quickly, in addition to that being available for regular UI, it would also be available for the PEUC program and the PUA program, provided that that $600 is available until July 25th.
Great. Okay, next question from Lakina. Her question, if someone doesn't meet the normal criteria for applying for unemployment insurance, how does one go about applying for benefits? Either Jamie or Paul?
So are they basically saying that they have been denied for regular unemployment insurance?
Well, yeah, answer that, and then plus if they have not already applied, I think she's saying if she doesn't meet the...
Okay. So what I would recommend, if someone has already applied and been denied, they would be in a holding pattern waiting for us to roll out and implement the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. If they have not gone out and filed yet, we want to encourage them to access our website and go into our benefits portal and submit an initial claim application. Or if they're having challenges accessing our website or our portal, to contact us directly through our contact center, and I can provide that contact number for them, and someone would be happy to assist them with that claim filing process.
Okay. You want to go ahead and provide the number?
And the number is 866-831-1724. Again, that's 866-831-1724.
Great. Thank you so much. Kathy Rose, who's my director of casework, do you want to comment on some common complaints or issues that you're facing?
I think Jamie has addressed those. I would like to reiterate, if they cannot get through to the customer service phone at the due, that they are more than welcome to call our office at 803-327-1114 and leave a message, and somebody will be back in touch with them. And if we can, hopefully through us, if we can contact due and maybe facilitate that application.
Great. Okay, this is a question from Susan. If you are unable to create an account on the DEW site because your info doesn't match the data, who can you contact to help? Obviously, the phone numbers provided did not work. Thank you. Jamie or Paul?
Yeah, I'll start with that, Paul. You can help me, please. It appears that she's talking about one of the challenges that we have experienced with credentialing through SSA. When an individual goes in to file a claim, one of the elements that they have to do is justify and prove who they are. Due to the magnitude of the country going in and credentialing who they are, there's been a great deal of load on that system, and that is not our system. It's an interface that we have with the system that's run by NASWA, Department of Labor, and the Social Security Administration. So every time that individual or a new person comes in and files a claim, we send that verification up, and it's supposed to come back valid or invalid, basically saying you are who you say you are. We do that real time. Some of the challenges that we've experienced is the whole country is doing that at the same time. So we work very closely with the Social Security Administration, the Department of Labor, and the National Association for State Workforce Agencies for them to expand that system. It's an old mainframe system. So what they had to do was expand that system and add capacity. And we'd ask that individual to go back out there and see if they could click through that screen and try again. But it appears that we were experiencing a great deal of challenges, wearing down on individuals trying to validate or verify the Social Security Administration when going in to file a claim. The last week or so, we've seen a lot more transactions going through quickly, more seamlessly, because the Social Security Administration did an upgrade this past Sunday. So I would ask them to provide me, and I'll provide my email with their direct information, and we can research and figure out where they are in that process. And my email is jsuber, JSUBER, @dew.sc.gov.
Great. Thank you. Kathy Rose, you want to chime in on that?
Jamie a great application in that. Jamie, I think you would also encourage persons to make application at non-peak times, maybe very early in the morning or even 1 or 2 o'clock at night. I know that that's not optimal, but at the same time, the system is not as loaded, and one can go ahead and just get the application completed.
Great. All right, the next question is from Wanda. I'm self-employed, but I'm now out of work. I filed for benefits, but was denied. What are the next steps I should take?
I think Jamie touched upon this a moment ago. That is going to be the process since you are not a covered employee under our regular UI laws, that when you file that claim for application, you're going to get that denial. But your information is now in our system. You're going to be marked as having that denial. And when we have the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program up and running in our system, the agency is going to be reaching out to you and all other similarly affected individuals to let you know what those next steps are.
Okay. Next question. My unemployment benefits run out this week, but I hear about a 13-week extension. Do I have to reapply, or will my benefits just continue after this week?
This is one of the federal programs I mentioned in my overview. There is the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program, PEUC, and that will provide an additional 13 weeks of unemployment insurance benefits to people who exhaust or collect everything that they're entitled to collect under state UI. Just like with the PUA program, we are working diligently to get that system and that program up and running. The CARES Act was passed less than 3 weeks ago, and so we've been trying to get these systems up and running while dealing with this large claim volume. But as soon as that system is up and we are able to pay those benefits, we'll be able to identify those people who have exhausted who may be eligible for the PEUC 13 weeks, and we'll notify them of their eligibility, and to the greatest extent possible, we'll be retroactively paying those people for the weeks that they were eligible until we were able to actually pay out the benefits.
So, Paul, should she reapply, or is she automatically in the call list for you to touch base, or what steps would she take to make sure she qualifies for the extension, for the emergency?
Yeah. There should be no additional steps that she needs to take. She's already in the unemployment insurance system. She has an active claim. The system will know that she is exhausted, and when the PUC benefits are up and running in our system, we will reach out to her about next steps. So
Okay.
at this point, she does not need to take any additional steps.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next question from Kelly. I'm a private independent contractor and filled out the claim incorrectly and cannot modify it. It has alerted me that there's an error on the form, but I have no way to modify it or contact anyone for clarity and corrections. Please advise. Who wants to tackle that one?
I'll take that, Paul. My concern is I can't speak specifically to her claim without looking at it. I'd love to have the opportunity to get that contact information and actually look at it. I can't speak to what questions were incorrect. All I would ask is if there's something that she needs to do, reach back out to us. We would have to see if we can make those adjustments to her claim. But 9 times out of 10, the self-employed, the independent contractors, they show up as monetarily ineligible, and then we're afforded the opportunity for us to reconnect with them and tell them what's going to be needed for them to become eligible or potentially eligible under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. So if so, email me your contact information, and I'll reach back out to you and get a better understanding of what took place with your claim.
Great. Repeat that email so if she didn't write it down.
It's jsuber, JSUBER, @DEW.SC.gov.
Thank you so much. And I want to remind callers, I'm Congressman Ralph Norman, and you're listening to my live forum on unemployment insurance. We'll have another one on small business on Triple P on Friday. Next question. If you have reduced hours but still make more than the amount that unemployment provides, will you still qualify for the additional $600 from the agency?
Okay, I'll field this one. So if you are receiving more money in wages each week from your partial employment than your state unemployment insurance weekly benefit amount, then you would not meet the state's definition of unemployed, and so therefore you would not be eligible to receive either state unemployment insurance benefits or the additional $600 from the federal government. As long as you receive a single dollar of underlying benefits, then you will receive the full $600. But if you earn more than your weekly benefit amount, then you do not meet the state's definition of unemployed for that week and would not be eligible.
Perfect. Okay. This is a question from Laura. My Social Security number was verified under my maiden name. Will this hold up my unemployment from being approved?
If I understand the question correctly, she says that she did get some verification. And as long as the SSN is verified as belonging to her, I don't think that should hold up her benefits.
Okay. Okay, next question. This is from Wanda Hullett-Merck. How can the government expect us to sit home and not have an income? What are we supposed to do? Buy groceries with? And then she just mentioned open up South Carolina. Ma'am, I can tell you we want to open up South Carolina as well as every state in the country wants to be open. We're balancing the health of the citizen with the health of the economy, and I will tell you it's a balancing act. We have weekly talks with the vice president, with Mnuchin, to trying to come up with a answer for this. But it's a conundrum, I will tell you. All right, this is a question from Dottie. What if your pay or hours were cut? Am I eligible for help?
You may be eligible for help. So in South Carolina, the definition for unemployed is someone who works more than 29 hours a week or earns more than their weekly benefit amount in wages. So if in any given week you are working less than 29 hours and you are earning less than whatever your weekly benefit amount may be, then you would be eligible for partial unemployment insurance benefits. You would have to report the wages you did earn, and your weekly benefit amount, your state weekly benefit amount, would be reduced, but then you would get whatever is left over, and then through July 25th, you would get the additional $600 on top of that.
Thank you. This question from Georgia. I'm just curious, how do I get my debit card for my unemployment benefits? It's been 4 weeks since I was approved, but I never received a debit card.
The debit card being issued is part of the initial claims filing process. That's not normal for someone to not receive a debit card, so I'd like to get some additional information or see if there may have been a change in address. But I would like to understand what took place, and then we can see about getting that debit card to the right address. But that's one of the first steps in the process. After that initial claim is filed, a debit card is sent to that address of record. So obviously we can follow up and figure out what took place, but normally as soon as that initial claim is filed, that debit card is mailed to that address, whether that person is deemed eligible or not. So that's kind of confusing that a debit card wasn't sent, but I'd love to look into it and get a better understanding of that individual circumstance.
Great. Okay, just have a question. What do you think will be happening on the federal level for unemployment benefits? What's the word in Congress about the coronavirus 19 going forward? Well, that's a very good question on the benefits. There's not enough money to be printed to adequately fund everything that's got to be funded. That's why I mentioned from the outset, get your claims in and let us do what we can do. It's going to be a priority of where the dollars will come from. You're going to have I guess every state in an emergency funding, because every state's income is going to be cut, and we'll just have to go through it one by one and set priorities up. But I'll remind everybody, it's the states that formed the federal government, not vice versa. So we've got to make sure that the state's going to have to take a lot of responsibility, and you're going to see budget cuts in every agency, and we're just going to have to prioritize how we do it and how we handle something that has never happened before in this country. Jamie or Paul, either one of you want to weigh in, or Kathy Rose weigh in on that?
No, I don't have anything to add in terms of what potential new benefits may come from the federal government. We are doing our best to get the current ones up and running in South Carolina.
Okay, let me just take this moment to recognize the stations and the television station, the radio and television that are carrying this broadcast today. WRHI here in Rock Hill, who produced the program, WZZQ in Gaffney, WBCU in Union, WDXY in Sumter, Comporium Cable in York and Lancaster counties. Thank all of you for helping to get this information out. It's very important, particularly now. Let me go to the next question from Norvella. Do we need to prove weekly job searches in order to obtain UI benefits? Is there something different now with the requirements to search for employment?
So for state UI, ordinarily, claimants are required to perform at least 2 job searches through the South Carolina Works Online or one-stop system, the state's online job bank. Due to the coronavirus pandemic and state of emergency, that requirement has been waived. So we're not holding people to that particular requirement.
Okay. The next question is from Kathy Rose. You want to weigh in?
However, I understand that each week persons need to go in and certify. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. There's still the normal process for filing your weekly claim for unemployment insurance benefits through the My Benefits portal. Nothing has changed about that. It's just the additional requirement of logging into the state's online job bank and performing those searches there.
So I would encourage people to go in and certify weekly, and understanding that the job search requirement has been waived.
Okay. Next question from Michelle. Once I've applied and been approved, how long does it take for you to start receiving your benefits?
That's a good question. I'll take that. The United States Department of Labor allows us 21 days from once that individual has been deemed eligible for them to receive that first payment. However, with the waiving of the waiting week, what we're experiencing is 7 to 14 days. However, if there are circumstances where these individuals have been receiving benefits much quicker, but we like to say 7 to 14 days, you'll receive that first payment if deemed eligible. But we are seeing numbers that are showing that it's happening quicker than that.
Yeah, thank you. This question from Michael. Can you please tell me if I need to reapply for my unemployment insurance after my initial term expires to get the additional 13 weeks, or will it automatically continue?
What I would recommend here again is that you don't need to reapply, but what you can do is just continue to, if you're still unemployed, you can continue to certify every week, even though you may get a notification that you don't have any more money available to you. At least you'll have filed that week, and then when we have the PEUC program up and running, we'll be able to retroactively apply that payment.
Okay. The next question is from Rose. So if a person is laid off because the retail business has been stopped, does that person claim as laid off and apply to 2 jobs per week in order to remain qualified? And she has a note, my company wants to rehire me, but we don't know when.
Okay. So this person would apply for unemployment insurance benefits, and from what she has described, you would categorize that as a lack of work. Her employer does not have work for her. It's closed down. And so she would apply stating that as the reason. And then, as I just mentioned, the requirement to do those 2 online job searches That's been waived due to the state of emergency and just in acknowledgement of the fact that really all these businesses have shut down.
Okay. Question from Daniel. I am self-employed and filled out the South Carolina Due website information, but had nothing to put into the employer section. It will not allow me to complete the application. What do I do?
Yeah, I'll take that. They need to indicate their business as the employer.
Okay, if they do that, then that will unlock it.
They need to put their business down as the employer. It's still going to be hard for them to go through the application because it was not meant for them. But I think if they do that, they'll get through it, and they'll get that denial, and then we can figure out how to communicate with them when it's ready for the pandemic unemployment assistance program. But if they put their business down, that'll help them move forward in the application.
Okay, thank you. This question is from Angie. Can you have your unemployment benefits go to your bank account instead of a state-issued debit card? And I assume she's talking about wired into your bank account.
Yes, that is an option. You can choose to either have it via a debit card or you could have it directly deposited.
Okay. Let me remind everybody, we're halfway through the hour. If you want to hear a replay of the program, it'll be posted later this afternoon on my website at norman.house.gov and my Facebook at facebook.com/Rep Ralph Norman. Okay, next question. Okay, this is from Sonia. I've received my debit card 2 weeks ago, but haven't received any funds yet. Not sure if there's anything else I need to do. Who wants to take that one?
The individual, this is Jamie, the individual may have a pending issue that may be associated with their claim, but additionally, the employer, be reminded, has up to 10 days to submit a response in regards to the reason of separation. So it could be between the two that may be delaying payment.
Okay. Kathy Rose, you want to weigh in on that?
I'll just dovetail in on what Jamie said. Jamie, if we can put these people more in a comfort zone, I have been getting a lot of that very question. It's, Kathy Rose, I've got my debit card. It tells me to activate it. I'm not sure if I activate it, if it will just throw me out of the system but if I understand correctly, Jamie, there is a portion of your website where they can actually go in and see if money has been put on the card.
That's great. Yes, Kathy. Once they file that claim, and they can go back into their account through their portal, and it really gives them a status of where they are or what's needed. And it also shows you when payment may be released to go on to that debit card or directly deposited to their individual account. So I would encourage individuals to go back in and assess their portal, which would give them more real-time information associated with their claim.
And here again, if after a week or so, I would give it 7 to 10 business days after you receive the debit card. Again, you are more than welcome to call our office at 803-327-1114 and ask for Kathy Rose, and I will leave your name and number, and I'll be glad to call you back and hopefully get the concern straightened out.
Let me remind our listeners, we do call you back. It may take a while, but we get back with you. We've got a staff that's been working, and we return calls. The next question is from Bell. I was put on temporary furlough due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I've applied for UI benefits online several times, but I keep receiving an error. When I call the phone number, I can't get through. How should I proceed?
I think if we can get some contact information for the individual so that we can take a closer look at the specific issues that they may be having, we can be better able to assist. I think we won't be able to answer that generally on this call, but we're happy to assist if we get some direct contact information.
And Paul, repeat that number again, and Kathy Rose will repeat it too. Let's get two numbers so we can make sure we get through.
Here again, they're welcome to call Congressman Norman's office at 803-327-1114 and leave a detailed message concerning your concerns with unemployment and not being able to access the application or concerns, errors, etc. And we will be more than glad to call you back.
And Paul, your number?
Sure. My number is 803-917-4000.
Okay. Next question from April. My husband and I own our own business. Currently, he and another employee are collecting a paycheck. I am no longer receiving a check, and one of our employees, is she eligible to receive benefits? She's not receiving them now, but is she eligible?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit on my end. Could you repeat that question?
Yeah. This is from April. My husband and I own our own business, and he and another employee are collecting a paycheck. She is no longer receiving a check, and wants to allow our employee to. Oh, and she wants to allow our employee to collect a check. So I guess her question is she eligible? Is April eligible to receive benefits? She don't want to cut the employee.
So, as I understand, April is a co-owner of this business.
Correct.
And generally, they would not be eligible for the state UI, but may be eligible for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program once that's up and running. And so if she is unemployed as a direct result of the COVID-19, and I think there are about 10 specific scenarios that are spelled out in the CARES Act, and if she meets one of those, then she may be eligible to receive benefits under that program. But to echo what Jamie said at the very beginning, our rule of thumb is if you are in doubt, go ahead and file a claim for unemployment insurance benefits. And we will determine whether you're eligible for state UI, and if you're not, we'll route you to the appropriate program and to see if you're eligible for one of the federal programs.
Okay, and I think it'd be helpful now, Jamie or Paul, walk us through the steps for applying for unemployment from when you start to when you finish and what actually needs to happen. Can y'all, one of you just briefly do that?
Sure. So you can file online, and there's a link to that on our website on several different places where you can file that claim, and it will take you through a series of questions asking about your employment history, what you did, why you're no longer employed. It'll go through a verification process to make sure you are, in fact, who you say you are. And then once that is submitted, the employer who you were separated from, we will send notification to them to provide any information that they may have. And once that is done, it'll get, if it's a simple lack of work, it'll get adjudicated that way. A decision will be issued, and that person should be able to receive benefits. If there's an issue, like say the employer says, no, that's not a lack of work, we actually fired this person because of X, Y, or Z, that might result in some additional fact-finding on the agency's part. But that's the broad framework of what happens when you file a claim.
Okay, the next question is from Tina. I was laid off in October, and my unemployment was exhausted on March 29th. Usually I go back to work at the end of March, but this year I can't go back because the office is now closed due to the coronavirus. How do I file for the extension?
I would continue to file your weekly claims, even though you may have exhausted your UI benefits, and you may get a notification that you don't have any money available to you. But that way you are continuing to certify each week that you're available to work. And once we have the PEUC program up and running, you'll receive a notification of your potential eligibility for that, and we'll be able to issue out those payments retroactively for each week that you're eligible.
All right, now, let me ask Jamie or Paul, what is, at this point, what's your most challenging things you're encountering at the South Carolina at DEW, and where, I guess, if you could just say, are the bottlenecks that you're encountering?
From my end in the Office of General Counsel, it's working with the Department of Labor to get as specific guidance as possible about these various programs and how they all interact with each other. I can't speak for Jamie on the operational side, but I imagine just the sheer volume of calls that are coming in and routing people to someone who can assist their specific issue.
Okay. Okay, this is a question from Lori. I called yesterday and was told that a specialist at SC DEW needed to handle my account. I need help getting to a specialist. What does she do now?
Again, if she can provide some additional contact information, Jamie or I can make sure that a specialist reaches out to her.
Okay. And let me remind you, our number again is 803-327-1114. Kathy Rose Hicklin is who you need to ask for. Okay, the next question. I lost my new job 3 weeks ago due to the virus. I tried to sign up for unemployment. It will not let me because I received unemployment last year due to my former employer who shut down due to bankruptcy. I have no income due to the virus. What do I do?
Okay. So there are two potential options for this individual. It sounds like they had an active unemployment insurance claim last year that their benefit year may not have ended. If that is the case, then they may be eligible for the PEUC program, those additional 13 weeks, once that program is up and running. Alternatively, they may be eligible for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, the PUA program, once that is up and running. Since he has filed and has been denied, we'll have that information in our system, and when those programs are up and running, we will reach out to him to advise him of what he needs to do to determine his eligibility under either one of those programs.
Okay, thank you. This question is from Rosalind. Do you have a time frame for when the PECU program will be running, and will that program be on a first-come, first-served basis until the funds run out?
Okay, so we are working as quickly as we can. I can't provide a specific time frame since I'm not on the operational side of things. With PUA, I know that we're trying to get it up in the next 2 weeks or so, and PEUC shortly thereafter. From everything that we have gotten from the federal government in terms of guidance, that everyone who is eligible for these programs will receive payment for these programs, and we'll be able to retroactively apply payments to the effective date of their particular claim, even if it takes us a week or two to actually get this program up and get the payments out. They'll still get paid for the weeks that they could have been eligible for.
And Paul, I'll add one more thing, Paul, and he's 100% accurate. We do want to make sure that we retroactively get those individuals that may become eligible and qualify. But from an operational standpoint and just us, one other piece that's missing is we got to receive the federal funding. So that also plays a role in regards to when we roll out that final program is when we receive the funding, but also it is looking like it'll be early May in regards to that 13 additional weeks. But again, we don't want to be too prescriptive because there's a lot of work behind the scenes that has to take place. But we're trying to get through PUA right now, and I know a lot of individuals are in need, but we want to get that PUA right, and then we'll shift our focus to the next program. But again, we also need to wait on the release of the federal funding to support that program as well.
And let me answer your question. Is it a first-come, first-served basis? And the answer is yes. I will tell you the funds will run out, and nothing has been reapproved, or there's no dollars that are allocated yet. It could be, but that's why I mentioned at the start of the program, fill your applications out if you think you want to, if you think you qualify, and get started on it. This question is from Tina. Hello, I received multiple 1099s. My answers do not fit clearly within the UI questions. I have not been denied yet, but what are my next steps?
As a 1099 worker, ultimately she's going to be denied for regular state unemployment insurance benefits. That's just the first step in this process. When the PUA system is up and running, we'll be able to reach out to her and notify her of what she needs to do going forward.
Okay. Okay, this question is the caller is asking regarding school employees who normally are not paid during the summer. Are they eligible for the UI benefits?
That's a really great question.
Yeah, I'll take that one, Paul, because I don't want to answer it. That's a tough one. I'm just going to be very general into that and just basically say I think the best thing to do is to file a claim. If they go ahead and go into our system, go to our website and file a claim, there's no harm in being denied, but I really, really think that the best thing to do during this circumstance is go and file that claim.
Yeah, there's no downside to that. If you don't file it, you know you're going to be denied. So go ahead and file it, and the result may be the same, but you don't know until you file it. So that applies to everything we're talking about today. So next question, what does pending resolution mean when I certify that each week?
I believe that just means that the issue, any issues involving your claims are being reviewed by our staff.
Internally, correct.
Okay. The next question, I'm a trucker and was laid off March 20th, 2020 because of the virus. I have not received anything as of today. My unemployment is pending. I guess he says what now, but what should his expectations be?
There could be a variety of things going on with the claim. Again, individually, I can look and get a better understanding. But if it's strictly, we could still be waiting on a response. I'm not certain if there are any pending issues that may be associated with their claim. Again, I think if they could get in touch with us through our contact center, someone would be able to provide them with a general overview of where we are in the process. I also would ask them to go and review their portal and see if there's any updates that have been made. But I guess someone probably just needs to research that claim and give a status update to where it may be. That does seem like quite some time, but I really can't speak specifically without looking at it individually for them.
And Jamie, give your number again so they can.
I'm at jsuber, JSUBER, at dew.sc.gov.
Thank you. Next question, I'm a self-employed cosmetologist who has a business license but no business name. Would I just fill out info as my own, or what should I put down as my business name?
I think you could probably get away with just putting down your name as the business name since you're self-employed, and that should get you past that question so that you can move on. And Jamie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how you would approach that.
That's absolutely correct, Paul. I mean, we're going to base the claim based on your social anyhow, so.
Yeah, so just go ahead and put your name down and put cosmetologist. Next question, will state unemployment be retroactive to date, unemployed, or based on the date on which I applied?
It's going to be when you applied. When we got that data in our system, it's based on when you applied, and then we determine eligibility. So it's when you applied.
Great. Okay. Kathy Rose, you want to add to that?
No, I thank you for that. And also, just to go back and reiterate what Jamie said, we're getting a tremendous amount of calls from those who are self-employed. I've actually been on the line with them when they've walked through the system and tried to apply. But yes, that first screen is the most important, where you check the box self-employed, and that alerts the system to the fact that you are going to be in that different group. But yes, if you go in and when it asks for the name of the employer, if you will just put your name, and Jamie is right, it will connect to your Social Security number, and you can go ahead and finish filling out the application. Also, Jamie and Paul, the entire DEW team has been exceptional with this. They have been completely overwhelmed. They were not set up to do this. They have been very responsive. But here again, to give you another safety net, if those persons who say they have called in and not heard a response back, they are more than welcome to call our office, and we will make an inquiry on their behalf. Maybe a little bit sooner, maybe not. But anyway, we want to know that we've got you. We want you to know that we've got your back. And again, our number is 803-327-1114.
Thank you. Next question. What if it says pending employer layoff? My boss has not heard from the unemployment office. What do I do?
I think it's going to process. It appears that your employers provided the information necessary. I think they just need to give additional time to the process, and it's going to adjudicate, and they'll get a determination, and the process will continue. I just think that that sounds like a timing issue right there.
Okay. Next question. If a nonprofit employee applies for unemployment insurance and the employer has applied for the payroll protection program, how does that work? Should the employee just wait for the loan to come through, or are they eligible for both?
My recommendation would be to file your claim for benefits because you don't know how long it might take for a loan from the Small Business Administration to come through. In terms of impact on unemployment insurance benefits, if you are receiving your salary, if your employer does get a loan to cover the payroll, then at that point you would no longer be eligible for unemployment insurance because you would be back and gainfully employed.
Okay, I want to say again, this is Congressman Ralph Norman. We've got folks from the Unemployment Insurance Office, Jamie Suba here. We've got Paul Famolari here, and I just appreciate everybody calling in. And Kathy Rose, can you walk us through some of the casework that you're doing now, and I guess some of the issues that you're seeing that you're facing?
So far as unemployment,
right.
we have great partners at DO. We have handled calls. We probably handle anywhere from 30 to 60 calls a day concerning unemployment. Everything from it won't let me verify through my Social Security number. It is showing an error. I'm not sure how to register my business, or nonprofits such as churches, daycare centers. Are they eligible to file in their employees? We're going to have to lay them off. Just a wide variety of questions and inquiries. We normally get their email address. We send them a Privacy Act. We get it back, and then we make the inquiry to DO, and they have been very responsive to us in getting back and helping them facilitate unemployment and getting checks processed and out the door.
Thank you. Next question. Do last year's wages have anything to do with my current unemployment insurance claim? And then along with that, how are UI benefits determined?
Okay, so for state unemployment insurance benefits, we're going to look at the 4 oldest of the last 5 completed calendar quarter. So currently that would be all of 2019, and we're going to look at all the wages that you earned during that period, and that's what's going to be used to determine your monetary eligibility and your weekly benefit amount for state unemployment insurance benefits. If you don't qualify using those wages, there is an alternative, which would just be to look at your last 4 quarters. So that would be second quarter of 2019 through the first quarter of 2020. But that's how we calculate your monetary eligibility.
Great. Thank you. Let me thank everybody again. We're running up on the 1 hour deadline that we have, but the radio stations and TV stations that are carrying this, WRHI in Rock Hill, who produced the program, WZZQ in Gaffney, WBCU in Union, WDXY in Sumter, and Comporium Cable, which is in York and Lancaster counties. And let me thank each one of you for asking the questions. We have resources that we want to help you with. And let me have, before we end, let me have Jamie and Paul and Kathy Rose. Jamie, starting with you, go through your the contact numbers again so that people can contact each one of you. Jamie?
All right. Thank you, Representative Norman. Again, I've received several emails from you all already, and I'll do my best to respond to you all as expeditiously as possible. I can be reached again at jsuber, JSUBER, at dew.sc.gov.
Okay, Paul?
And this is Paul Familari. This is Paul Familari. The best way to reach me during everything that's going on is via email, and that's P as in Paul, F as in Frank, A, M as in Michael, OLARI at dew.sc.gov.
Kathy Rose?
Our office, the best way to do is to call in at 803-327-1114 and ask for Kathy Rose, and make sure you put a special note on that. It's about unemployment. And again, I want to thank our partners at DEW. They have been absolutely phenomenal in responses and getting back to us in this time when no one ever thought that this many people in South Carolina would be applying for unemployment.
Thank each one of you. And let me say again, this Friday at 11 o'clock, if you are a small business owner, if you're an independent contractor, if you're sole proprietor or self-employed, I'm going to be hosting a program it's Friday, April 17th at 11 a.m. To discuss the call it Triple P, the Paycheck Protection Program. And joining me will be experts from the SBA. And just like today, you can ask questions and call in, and we want to hear from you and answer every question you can. My website is norman.house.gov. And let me ask Paul or Jamie or Kathy Rose. I had a question that came in. What are the resources available through the South Carolina DEW website? I know I can file a claim, but what else can I do? And walk through the acronyms so that we repeat those.
So in addition to being able to file a claim online through our DEW website, we also have a COVID-19 resource hub where we're putting a lot of information as we go through this process and as we learn new things. So we have some frequently asked questions that we're regularly updating that can provide some general answers to some general questions. Also, on there's a tab within the COVID hub for individuals, and within that there's some FAQs and guides to some of the more commonly encountered issues people are running into with filing their claim. So you can check out those. That might provide you the answer without having to call in. And I can provide that address, which is dew.sc.gov/COVID-hub. And that will get you to our COVID hub, and then you can explore the resources that are available there.
Great. Kathy Rose?
And if you would like to go to Congressman Norman's website, you can actually email him, and we will get it, and we will return with a response. Or, again, you can call us at 803-327-1114.
And let me just say before we wrap up that I hope this has been informative for you. Again, my job as a congressman is to give you a roadmap to follow, and just know that, again, this is uncharted waters for all of us all over the country. Hopefully we're going to be coming out of this, and hopefully we're going to be, since we're not infected with the coronavirus as New York is or other parts of the country, we're going to be opening back up. We're on the phone, again, several times weekly with the administration, and they're doing everything they can. And please know that that as the banks process your loan, they are wanting to get you the money as quick as possible. They're working remotely, which is new in and of itself, and they're having to work through those issues. But Jamie and Paul and Kathy Rose, I just want to thank you for participating in this. Again, join me Friday at 11 o'clock if you're an independent contractor or a small business owner, to walk you through the Paycheck Protection Program and to try to provide you guidance on how to file claims and process them. Thank each one of you. Again, our number at the office is 803-327-1114, and look forward to joining you here on Friday at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much.
South Carolina's most honored radio station, News Talk 100.1 WRHI Rock Hill, W261CY Rock Hill, the voice of York County.
An OTS media station.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. President Trump wants a review of the World Health Organization's response to the coronavirus outbreak in China before releasing any more funding for it. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, tells Fox.
Is it so much to ask? The minor dividend, the minor return on our investment would be for the WHO to be honest about the origins of the virus in Wuhan.
Vermont Democrat Patrick Leahy on the Senate Appropriations Committee says withholding funds for WHO in the midst of the worst pandemic in a century makes as much sense as cutting off ammunition to an ally as the enemy closes in.